Hey everyone, do you think that you need a plugin such as Sapphire to make a glitch transition like this? If you said yes, you are wrong. I'm going to be showing you how to make this transition with zero plugins and only the built-in effects in Premiere Pro. First of all, head between your two clips. So mine are here, I'm just going to head between them and then head 5 frames back like so. Create an adjustment layer, so you can just right click down here on your project tab, new item, adjustment layer, and click OK. Drag it over in front of your playhead and cut it down to 1 frame long. Search for VR digital glitch and drag it onto the adjustment layer. And now what you need to do is just pause the video and copy down my settings. So uncheck the auto VR properties, set the frame layout to stereoscopic over/under, and then set the horizontal field of view to 60, vertical field of view to 150. Open up distortion and change the color distortion to 100 and also the complexity to 50. Open up noise and set the noise strength to 100. Now we're done with this frame. Next, we are going to be replicating a displacement map effect. So head 1-2 frames ahead and make a cut on this frame. Then hold Alt on your keyboard to duplicate this frame and push it up. So to repeat this, make the cut, hold Alt, click, drag up like that. Add on adjustment layer once again on top, search for invert, and we're going to be using the one underneath channel. Drag it onto the adjustment layer, click the duplicated layer, head over to effects controls, and we're going to be using the position to shift it towards the right or the left depending on your preference. So you can either shift it to your left, right, or even up or down. However, I'm going to be using the first value to push it to the right, just here somewhere. That looks fine. And then I'm going to set the blending mode to darken. In some cases, you may have to use a different blending mode. For example, lighten instead of darken, which is the opposite, or perhaps something else like overlay or difference. So pick whichever looks best. Darken works very well in my case. So after making this, head 1 frame ahead and make another cut. So just push this to the left. So it should leave a 1 frame gap, and we are going to fill this with the first frame of the second clip. So just head to your second clip, make a cut and duplicate this frame to fill in the gap, just like so. Remember, you have to hold Alt on your keyboard and just click and drag it. If you're finding it hard to fill in the gap, you can just copy it anywhere and then move it to the gap. Now add on invert once again and then search for lens distortion underneath the distort folder and drag it onto the clip and set the curvature to -40 like so. For the next frame, we are going to be replicating a Omino diffusion glitch effect. First of all, download this image, which I will leave in the description, import it into your project and add it onto your timeline. Cut it down to 1 frame, and you can set the blending mode to something like color burn or something else like lighten, but I found that color burn looks best. Now the issue is the clip at the back does not seem affected, so what you need to do is search for the wave warp effect and drag it directly onto your clip and simply copy down my settings. So sine 25, 80, 0, 1, none, 0 and high, before and after. So now it doesn't just seem like a simple overlay, now it looks like an actual effect. Anyways, let's move on to the next frame. The first effect we're going to apply is something called offset underneath distort. So apply onto your clip, and by using the shift center 2, I'm going to move the second value to the right, which will push it down, and I'm going to leave it somewhere around here. That looks perfect. So 880 for me. And now I'm going to add some blur to soften it out, because you can see it looks very sharp. So I'm going to be adding Gaussian blur underneath blur and sharpen, add it on, and I'm going to set it to, let's go 16 maybe. That may be a bit too much. However, we won't know until we set the blur dimension to vertical. I could turn it down, so maybe 12. Let's go for that. Perfect. So now it looks a bit softer than before. Adjustment layer once again on top of this frame and copy down my warp wave settings. So if you haven't already, just add it on by searching it up underneath distort onto the adjustment layer and copy them down. So smooth noise 100, 350, 0, 1, none, 0 and high. And to top it off, you can add on the levels effect, the one underneath adjust. I'm just going to add it on and then scroll all the way down, head 1 frame ahead from the start and keyframe the black input level, set it to something like 100, 5, 10, 15, 20 frames ahead for me. You may have to move more or less depending on your clip. Now set the amount to 0 and I'm going to open it up and also graph this. So I'm just going to pull this handle to the left like so, not too tight. Just like that, that seems fine. Now head to the very start and reset it back to 0. Thank you to my monthly supporters as always. Remember to check my posts as I'm going to give away this project file for absolutely free. Anyways, thank you for watching. Peace.